Welcome in Craft and Design 3.0. I'm for my dear audience. In this video, I will describe some different and much beautiful ideas of creative metal welding or small metal welding project. So, dear audience, when we talk about a creative metal welding project or small welding project, then different questions arise in our mind, like firstly, uh, what is a metal welding? Or what is the historical background of metal welding? What are the some main types of welding, or what are the welding metal is used? So, dear audience, if we talk about metal welding, then welding is also a fabrication process whereby two or more parts are fused together by means of heat, pressure, both forming a joint as a part school. So welding is usually used on metals and thermoplastic, but can also be used on wood. So the completed welded joint may be referred to as a weldment. So what is the historical background of metal welding? The history of fusing metals through welding goes back as far as 3000 BC when humans first started working with bronze. So the oldest known examples of welding are small golden boxes that date back to the Bronze Age over 2000 years ago. And my dear guys, if we talk about also welding types, then also gas metal arc welding and gas tungsten arc welding and shielded metal arc welding and also flux core arc welding. So what welding metal is used? So welders use stainless steel and carbon steel and low carbon mild steel depending on the project. So mild steel is especially ductile, which makes it easy to weld. So the more carbon steel has a more effort it takes to weld. Though welding carbon steel still happens with the proper equipment and method. So why is metal welding important? Because welding establishes strong, durable, and permanent joint links. So it is a simple process that results in a great finish. So the technique, when used with the foil material, produces a stronger weld than the base material. It is used in various sectors like construction, automobile, and many more industries. So, what is the principle of welding? So, basic principle of welding, a weld can be defined as coal seams of metal produced by heating to a suitable temperature without the applications of pressure and without the use of a filler material. So one my dog guys questioned me who invented metal welding or created metal welding in 1881 or 82 inventors Nicole Benrod, Russian and Steinlaw. Olsey Zevek's Polish created the first electric arc welding method known as carbon arc welding using carbon electrodes. So why is creative welding important? Because creative welding is an essential component of many industries, manufacturers such as automotive industry. So the construction industry, the aviation industry, and more without this form of metalwork. So many things, including many buildings, gates, and fences, and small playing, different bees, and small kitchen appliances, small toys, different small items in which we can use in different manners and vehicles and even space travel would not exist. For learning process, we can use it in a welding, small welding project. So when did metal weld start? Because welding can trace its historic development back to ancient time. The earliest example of welding come from the Bronze Age. So small gold circular boxes were made by pressure welding lap joints together. So it is estimated that these boxes were made more than 2000 years ago. And how many types of metal welding are there? Because welding is one of the primary forms of metal fabrication. As a hobbyist, you have four main choices for welders, like as a flux core arc and gas metal arc and gas tungsten arc and stick. So there are several other specialized welding processes as well. But in this article, we will stick to the fundamental appointment. So, which type of creative welding is best? Because shield metal arc welding stick is the most popular welding process. It is the most versatile and uses the simplest equipment. So, what metal cannot be welded? Some example of material combination that cannot be fusion welded successfully are aluminium and steel, carbon or stainless steel, so aluminum and copper and titanium and steel. So nothing can be done to alter their metallurgical properties that leaves changing your process. So, what is the temperature of making a creative welding? The temperature of an electric arc depends upon the type of electrodes between which it is struck. So, it is about 3200 centigrade on the cathode and about 1900 degrees centigrade on the anode for carbon electrodes and 2400 centigrade and 2600 centigrade respectively for metal electrodes. So these the temperature may reach 6000 degrees centigrade to 7000 degrees centigrade in the center of an arc. So what is the best welding for metal? Because TIG welding or gas tungsten arc welding offering high quality and versatility and longevity. TIG is the most commonly used stainless steel welding process. So this welding process creates a low heat input which make it perfect for thin materials. And what is application of welding when in structural steel fabrication? Because welding connect steel beams and columns and other component forming the skeletal framework of building bridges and other structures. So welding process like SMA and GUMA are commonly used in this application. So what steel can be welded? Because low carbon steel with 0.15 to 0.3% carbon and up to 0.9% manganese poses good weldability. So those with less than 0.2% carbon are ideal. If the impurities are kept low, so these metals rarely present problems during the welding process. So steels with carbon over 0.25% are prone to cracking in certain applications. And what is the first rule of welding? Because conduct welding in a designated safe location. So a welder should observe their surroundings or working environment prior to welding. So it is the best to observe whether any flammable equipment or materials are present within the um, vicinity of the welding area. And what is the classification when we talk about, my dear guys, about classification? Then pressure welding and fusion welding are much important. So, dear audience, I think that my video and my idea inspired you much. If inspired, then subscribe my channel and like my video and share my video. Thank you very much.